नमस्कार, रोटरी क्लब जयपुर गुरुकुल के पॉडकास्ट चेतना में आपका स्वागत है। कैसी चल रही है आपकी जिंदगी? खूबसूरत है, ज़हीन है, चल रही है, कट रही है, बहुत खूब है। चलिए इसे और आबाद करते हैं, पलों को कैद करके शब्दों में गुफ्तगू को साज करते हैं। आइए बात करते हैं। आज हमारे पॉडकास्ट चेतना में तन मन को स्वस्थ रखने वाली, चेतना भरने वाली गेस्ट आई हैं इंडियन ट्रैप शूटर शगुन चौधरी। शी इज द फर्स्ट एंड ओनली वुमन who qualified to represent India at the Olympics in clay pigeon shooting. She'll be representing India at Asian Shooting Championships in Korea. Shagun Chowdhary, an Olympian and Asian Games medalist and the current National Games champion. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me.
सबसे पहले तो आपकी जर्नी की शुरुआत से बात करते हैं। आपने हमेशा से सोचा था कि आप एक शूटर बनेंगी?
नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. I was actually following, or I had was set to follow the regular path, which was graduate, do your post-graduation, then you join a company and then you grow from there. So shooting thankfully was introduced to me at a very early age. जब मेरे पापा महाराजा डॉक्टर करणी सिंह जी के साथ बीकानेर में शूट किया करते थे, तो तब मेरे that's when I saw clay pigeon shooting for the first time. And thankfully, because of my father's, I was always inclined towards sports. I was a national level swimmer in school, and shooting happened to me when I graduated from MGD Jaipur and I went to Delhi University JMC. तो वहाँ पर डैड ने बोला कि you were always interested in clay pigeon shooting, तो why don't you give it a shot? Because we didn't have ranges back in the day in Jaipur, so there was no question of training here. So when I went to Delhi, and that's the time when I started training at the Karni Singh shooting ranges, and I literally gave it a shot, and then I never looked back.
And at that time, you were not pursuing any other profession?
No, I was still in college, so I was studying, and along with that, I was shooting, and then shooting overtook everything else in my life, and I became a part of the Indian. I started shooting clay pigeon shooting in 2001. I became a part of the Indian shooting team in 2003. I picked up my first international medal at the Asian Shotgun Championship in 2003, and then जब भी किसी को कोई वो motivation मिलती है, or you find that achievement, that whatever you have worked for has kind of culminated into something bigger, so you want to do even better and better. So after my first medal, I was sure of what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a shooter. I wanted to be a sports person, because I felt that fulfilled my life in a way that nothing else would have.
Wow. Okay, आपने बात की क्ले पिजन शूटिंग की, और एक एवरेज लिसनर लाइक मी, हमें नहीं पता कि क्ले पिजन शूटिंग क्या होती है और दूसरी टाइप की शूटिंग क्या होती है, लॉन्ग रेंज, शॉर्ट रेंज, हमें नहीं पता है। तो हमें एक बार समझा देंगी कि क्ले पिजन शूटिंग कैसे डिफरेंट है बाकी शूटिंग से?
तो क्ले पिजन शूटिंग में जो आपकी बाकी शूटिंग है, जैसे 10 मीटर एयर राइफल जो अभिनव बिंद्रा करते हैं, वो एक 10 मीटर के डिस्टेंस पे एक टारगेट रखा जाता है, और एक आप एयर राइफल से जिसमें छर्रे डलते हैं, उसमें यू ट्राई एंड गेट अ परफेक्ट 10 फॉर योर स्कोर. क्ले पिजन शूटिंग इज वेरी डिफरेंट. क्ले पिजन शूटिंग वी यूज हंटिंग गन्स, एंड इट केम फ्रॉम why it's called clay pigeon shooting. Clay pigeon shooting is because back in the day they used to have live pigeons that were kept in traps. Okay. And the shooter would say pull, and the cage would be released, and the pigeon would fly out. Okay. And then they would shoot down the pigeon. Obviously, a very gory sport, a lot of bloodshed. Right. But so now they changed it to clay pigeon, where we have clay discs, which are orange in color. Okay. And they fly at about 100 kilometers an hour. So it's a flying target. Oh. And you use the same hunting gun, which is a 12 bore, and you use a 24-gram cartridge in order to break that clay pigeon into a million pieces. So that is how you get scored.
So that seems very difficult. I mean, in comparison to static target, तो एक flying target जो होता है, तो why did you choose this one?
It's difficult. It needs a different type of skill. Why I chose this one, like I said, my father used to shoot with Maharaja Karni Singh Ji, and he used to shoot skeet with him, and that is the only kind of shooting I saw.
Achha.
So that is why that was something that resonated with me when I went to college.
So would you like to share some life-changing experiences of yours while you were preparing for shooting, while you won your first medal?
Life-changing experience was basically that when I started clay pigeon shooting, I was one of the first women to actually venture into the sport. It was a completely male-dominated sport. There were only men, because hunting and men go together and women don't go together. That's what the perception was back in the day. And so just to kind of put to rest all doubts that people had in their head regarding me or regarding a female shooting a shotgun and trying to change that perception and moving along in that direction was something that was life-changing and something that I really wanted to do. So that kind of changed my perception about sport, about women in sport, the struggles that they go through and how we overcome them.
So you talked about struggles women go through in sports. So do you think that gender equality is a serious issue in sports?
Well, it used to be. Not anymore. As we saw in, women are getting the maximum number of medals in the Olympics. We have a similar sort of exposure now that men have. You see them in wrestling, you see them in boxing, you see them in shooting. You see them in tennis, you see them in badminton, you see them everywhere. So back in the day, sports was not something that was actually, in the sense, put on a platter for women to take up.
Okay.
It was something that was not heard of. But what happens is every time a woman does something out of the ordinary in a particular sport, it motivates hundreds and thousands of other women, because they say, if she can do it, why can't we? And that is the domino effect that we've seen, that it has actually taken up the country by storm, where there's so many women who are actually actively wanting to participate in sport, any kind of sport.
Right.
So gender equality was an issue because the exposure and because of the facilities that were not deemed the same for women, but now that has changed over time quite a bit. I've been in the sport for like almost 23 years now, and I've seen the drastic change in that.
Wow. So you're talking about the current scenario, but what were the challenges before, like in your time as well, like 15 years back, let's say? So what were the challenges which are not there right now?
So I did not have my own shotgun to shoot. So I used to go on borrowed weapons. Cartridges were not easy to procure. So that used to be a challenge. Facilities, as far as ranges were concerned, there was only one at the time back in the day where everybody used to train. So uprooting yourself from wherever you are to go and train there were no hostels. There were no government schemes like Halo India where juniors were picked up. So it was a struggle because you had to do all the investment yourself into doing something that may or may not reap you results, and but just have that belief in yourself that you would make something of it.
Right. So all those challenges and you overcame them. So what are the qualities you imbibed in the process, and what do you think are the most important qualities to be a good sports person?
I feel self-belief is right on top, because till the time you don't believe in yourself to do something which is different, it is very difficult to go through it. There are lots of people who create a lot of doubts in your head because like I said, nobody else had done it before. So there were no examples that were given to me that, oh, so-and-so has done it, so you can do it too. So to kind of break that, to deal with those doubts in other people's minds also create self-doubts in yourself. So to deal with that and to overcome those has been something that has really shaped me as a human being that I am today, where I feel that any individual who wants to take up whatever they want to take up, as long as they have self-belief and they're motivated and they're determined, there's nothing that can stop you.
Right. So you're talking about self-belief. So apart from physical training, what are the mental abilities one should have? Like you talked about self-belief. Apart from that, do you need to meditate to overcome that pressure? Because that pressure is like all of the countries looking up at you, and you have high expectations from yourself, and people have high expectations from you. So how do you deal with that stress?
So I feel that this is a life learning skill where we all kind of move into the result and not the process. And the power of now is so strong of being in the moment and just following your process. So obviously we all have sports psychologists that we have worked with, that have given us, who have given us tools in order to overcome certain distractions. And because every time a shooter or any athlete is doing well, whether it's in a set or in a round, then you automatically imagine the gold medal around your neck. And then you have to consciously bring yourself back into what you're doing at that moment, because if you're going to think about the result, then the next target that you're going to shoot will be a loss. So you have to consciously prepare, and there are tools obviously for that, where you have to be in the now and follow the process and not worry about the result, because as long as your process is on point, then the result is yet to follow, is yet to come. I mean, bound to come. Sorry.
Bound to come.
Yeah.
So there would be fine balance of manifestation, being in now, in the moment, and at the same time your concentration, your focus, and all your learning and the expectation. So I cannot imagine that fine balance coming easily. So how did you manage? Would you like to share one such incident where you were thinking all of the things at the same time at one moment and you needed to shut it down?
Yeah, that happens, in every competition, even now when I compete. I remember when I started shooting, I was going for the World Championships to Cyprus. This was in 2003. And my international coach, who wasn't coaching me at the time because I wasn't a part of the camp, because I was the only girl, so only the men were a part of the camp. But he made this statement in the newspaper that Shagun will go, and I was very young at that point in time. So I'm saying 20 years back. And he made the statement in the national newspaper that, Shagun is going for the World Championships and she'll come last.
My God.
And this was even before the competition had started. So obviously I read that, and it played a very, it was very impactful to see that somebody whom you would probably be training with in the future thinks so little of you. And I proved him right, because all of that, I did come last in that competition because it was already preempted, and it was something that really led me down to my lowest. But then to come out of that and to say that it doesn't matter, like I said, people, because nobody had done it before, so people have a lot of doubts about you. It's about you and yourself, your determination, where you put yourself in a bubble and not let anything affect you, and just believe in your ability, your skill, your discipline, and keep moving forward step by step. There's small steps, but as long as you're taking small steps, you're not stagnant. And as athletes, I think we have many more losses under our belt than we have successes, so that we have to get up from those losses. Every time you have a bad competition, you can't say I'm going to give it up. You have to work on that. You have to see what went wrong. You have to work on those, because in every competition, when you don't do well, it's much more of a learning lesson than when you do, because you know exactly what to work on. And when that realization helps you perform better in the next one. So those are learnings.
But then you talked about dedication, you talked about self-belief, you talked about focus, and thinking only about the target. All these things, these three habits you would like to share with us, you include in your daily life to be at the path of dedication and self-belief.
So see, my dream was always to make it to the Olympics, and at that point in time, no girl had done it. And so it took a lot of hard work in terms of, I used to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. There was no partying, there was no going out back in the day. Even if my friends, I would exclude myself. I would be traveling about 6 to 7 months in a year, where I'd be in different countries training. And it takes a toll on you, because you're removed from your, from normal life.
Yes.
When I would come back, I would always be doing a catch up with my friends, but I had no idea what was going on, because back in the day, like I said, there was no social media. Phone calls were not, they were not WhatsApp calls, which were free.
Right.
And so you were completely far removed from reality, which was life. Whether it's working with your sports psychologist, that becomes your life. You working with your sports psychologist, doing your physical training, going and having a routine, just following routine day in and day out is basically the life of an athlete. And that is what actually took me to where I am.
Right. A lot of discipline.
Immense amount of discipline.
Immense amount of. And you have a family, right? So
I have my mom and dad, and I have my sister, and I have my 3 dogs. Yes.
Oh, wow. So how do you manage the time? Like, family has to be supportive, as you told. Your father encouraged you. While you're not giving your time to family, and then whenever family needs you, I mean, there are moments when there are lows in the family, highs, and they want you as a family member. So how do you manage your career and family, and what do you advise to people who have a full-fledged family? They want to make career in sports, which requires a lot of time and dedication. So what would you advise them?
So we are a very close-knit family, and my parents have been very supportive of my journey. And so even if there were any setbacks at home, I was never told about them.
Oh, wow.
Because they wanted me to basically focus on the task at hand. And they know that I know they're always there for me, and they know I'm always there for them. So it is just like I said, you just have to coax and believe in whoever you're supporting, be it your daughter, be it your son, in whatever they're doing, and then blindly just follow that. And whatever you have to keep away from them at that point of time, then you do, and then you come back and then you deal with that at that point. So because there's nothing, when I would be traveling and something would have happened back at home, there was nothing that I could have done while sitting in Italy or sitting in the US. So there's no point bringing it up, because nor can you completely 100% focus on the task at hand, which is training, and nor can you help something that's going back at home.
Right.
So I think my parents and my sister understood that. And I'm blessed that they actually just let me carry on with whatever I had to do and achieve whatever I had to do at that time.
Right. You're very happy with your achievements. India is happy with your achievements. But then there has to be something about sports as a career which is not very favorable. So what would you say about that?
Sports as a career which is not very favorable is, how do I explain it? Yeah, there are pros and cons to it. I got lucky. The amount of people who actually make it to the top are very limited.
Right.
So, I mean, there are a lot of kids I see who struggle and who are unable, and they feel very dejected. So that is something, it is basically dealing with your own, like I said, whether it's self-doubt or whether it's just dealing with that and overcoming that, and then picking up another career, because sports is not meant for everybody. And it also, like I told you, like it removes you from normal life.
Right.
It is a completely different lifestyle altogether. There is no timing. It's not a 9 to 5 job that 5 o'clock you switch off and you can go back. It is a lifestyle that you follow from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, and the cycle continues. So like I said, it's a very disciplined lifestyle. It is. And also there are not too many, I feel it's very important for anybody to be financially secure and independent. Sports sometimes does not give that, because we don't have too many organizations. Or I'm blessed that I'm with ONGC. I've been with them since 2008, and but not everybody gets that opportunity. So in order to pursue a sport without any financial backing and without any financial independence becomes difficult. So that is a downside to sport as of now in India.
And if we talk about physical activity, physical fitness, अगर कोई सी इंसान को स्पोर्ट्स अपने आगे चलकर करियर में चुनना है, so physical fitness की तरफ किस तरह से ध्यान देना चाहिए? I mean, one person who's lazy, who's not very physically active, can he think of a career in sports?
I wouldn't think so. I don't think it's not about sports only. It's about physical fitness is something that helps your mental health as well. So I think it's very important for everybody to put in some amounts of exercise in order to get their body going, in order to perform at whatever, whether it's a regular job, or whether it's sports, or whether it's anything. It is extremely important, and that is why they have the Fit India thing, and they have brought up so many schemes, or ways of encouraging people to get moving, because having a sedentary lifestyle kind of takes a toll on your body, and it also takes a toll on your mind. So for any person, an athlete, obviously we have different levels of fitness, but for anybody to be good at what they're doing, I think physical fitness is a very important aspect of their life.
राइट जैसे कि आपने कहा कि बहुत सारे लोगों को अपनी सोशल लाइफ को थोड़ा सा बैलेंस आउट करके चलना पड़ता है या नेग्लेक्ट ही करना पड़ेगा अगर आप स्पोर्ट्स में जा रहे हैं और आपको डिसिप्लिन रहना पड़ेगा और स्पोर्ट्स इज नॉट आई वुड से एक इंक्लूजन नहीं है लाइफस्टाइल में बट इट्स अ होल लाइफस्टाइल ऑल टुगेदर. So, what would you advise to young children who are listening to you right now कि आपको अगर स्पोर्ट्स में अपना करियर बनाना है और सारे प्रोज एंड कॉन्स को जानते हुए भी आपको क्या फॉलो करना चाहिए?
See, sports is a beautiful thing because we make our family, like my sporting family, is very, very close to me. I spend a lot of time with them. So sports is something that builds team spirit, that makes you more stronger in terms of how you go through situations in life. Like I said, we have many more losses. So to get up from that and not be dejected, it's great for your mental health, which is a huge issue these days. And for anybody who wants to pursue sport, I think it is something that it kind of keeps you in the now. It takes you away from your issues and your problems that you're dealing with every day in life. It builds, there's a sense of camaraderie between people. There's a sense of bonhomie. There's a sense of competition. So it is everything rolled into one. You have to face your competitor and compete with them, and at the same time, off the ground, you are best friends with them.
Wow.
So just that balance that sports creates is, I don't see that in any other, in any other sphere.
So I would say कि जो आप निशाना लगाती हैं, वो जो निशाना लग रहा है, I would say आपकी जिंदगी के लिए कि आसमां को निशाना करते हैं, तीर रखते हैं जब कमान में हम. So it is like that कि आपने जिस तरह से बात की कि कमराडरी होनी चाहिए और वो सब है. आप मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में बात करें. मेंटल हेल्थ इज सच अ बिग इशू राइट दीज डेज और सब कोई डिप्रेशन, एंग्जाइटी और छोटी छोटी सी बातों में, कॉर्पोरेट जॉब्स में. लेकिन बीइंग अ स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन, जब आपको वो स्ट्रेस बहुत ज्यादा होता है लेकिन फिर भी स्पोर्ट्स की वजह से वो स्ट्रेस आपको डील करना आ जाता है.
अब अगर आप देखें बड़ी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में, जैसे आप they have a sports day for their employees.
Yes.
Why do they have a sports day for their employees? Because that is one time where everybody leaves their troubles at home and focuses on just winning together.
Right.
So it builds, like I said, it's teamwork. It is reaching out on a goal. It is so.
Moving ahead together,
and also it just gives you a sense of satisfaction that and just a sense of being, where you're with, and like when we train with all age groups. I have 16-year-olds to 40-year-olds to 50-year-olds. We are all together, so there is just a sense of togetherness. There is a sense of the same, reaching the same goal. There's a sense of just being there in the now. And that is when you kind of remove yourself from everything, all your anxiety, all your depression, kind of, it works on that because you have something to look forward to.
As you're the first Olympian in this sport, I would also ask you about women empowerment and sports. What is the link, do you think?
There is obviously, anytime a woman does well, she helps in empowering so many other women, in setting the belief that they have in themselves. So that is something, and it's not just sport, it's anything. If you have somebody in the corporate world who's really, done really, really well, there are so many others also who want to emulate that. So I think women doing well in any field help empower other women to work hard in whatever field they choose to be it art, be it music, because all the fields are open now. Earlier when I was in school, it was only you could either become an engineer or a doctor or an MBA. Now there are so many avenues that are open, and we can reach the zenith in each and every one of them. So we just, like I said, it's just one person doing well and the other people being inspired. The Asian Games are happening right now. The girls are doing so well. I'm sure whoever's watching Sony at home wants to be there on the same field. So it's just, like I said, it just works beautifully.
Wow. So it was lovely talking to you. You talked about dedication, improvement all the time, a family away from family, a family which moves together, go ahead together and achieve together. They are happy for each other. At the same time, they are competing with each other. It is very difficult, but it can be achieved when you are in sports. So thank you so much हमारे साथ समय बिताने के लिए. अगर आप कुछ हमारे listeners को advice देना चाहें या message देना चाहें.
Just believe in yourself, be passionate about whatever you believe in, and the sky is the limit.
वाओ, यानी कि आसमां जो है वो आपको छूना है. इससे ऊंची भी आपको कोई लिमिट अगर आपको तय करनी है तो वो कीजिए, लेकिन जो भी कीजिए शिद्दत से, पैशन से कीजिए. यही मैसेज है आज हमारे दिल में, हमारे लिसनर्स के दिल में एक जगह बनाने वाली शगुन चौधरी को बहुत बहुत कंग्रेचुलेशंस. यू द ओनली ओलंपियन इन दिस क्ले पिजन शूटिंग. आपको बहुत बहुत बधाइयाँ कि आप रिप्रेजेंट कर रही हैं इंडिया को कोरिया में शूटिंग चैंपियनशिप जो हो रही है, एशियन शूटिंग चैंपियनशिप, उसमें. और बधाइयाँ और बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं.
थैंक यू सो मच.
रोटरी क्लब गुरुकुल पॉडकास्ट चेतना में आज आपने सुना शगुन को, जिन्होंने बताया कि किस तरह से पैशन, डेडिकेशन, फोकस एंड सेटबैक्स में भी आपको किस तरह से बस अपने दिल की ऊंचाइयों को सलामत रखना है, यानी कि अपनी हिम्मतों को, उड़ानों को सलामत रखना है और फिर सब ठीक हो जाएगा. आपसे इसी तरह दिल में चेतना भरने वाली बातें होती रहेंगी. अभी के लिए दीजिए इजाजत. नमस्कार.